Thanks for tuning in to Stories Around the Candle, folks. This here broadcast is brought to you by Butt Boss Cigarettes. The only cigarettes you can tell your boss it's time for a cigarette break. But boss, get 'em while they last. Now, off we go to the latest story sent to you from yours truly, Mr. Mashstone. Enjoy, folks. The Way It Did. The underlying question to this story is, what if the congressional reprise of old soul songs found its way into the tape player of God, and he decided to play disco in heaven? The day was heavy and the lion finally made it across the ridge. Doomsday was a paradise now, and all the frolicking neighbors had made their way outside. There struck the final chord in which the door's fantasy had made its way to the highest peak, and the hand finally hit the button play. The head was grooving, and all was consuming, knocking on the doorstep of the universe, the clock's quick ticking, and the heroines of the time had finally noised the sound. Sudden whiffs of streamed archetypal expansions of profuse makings in the wishful melody had us in. The world had stopped still in its tracks, organizing the family of the beginning. The light was all over the floor, beaming technicolor pearls of wisdom and joy. His name was unknown, but the uncontrollable laughter he caused made us all decide to gather in the methods of soul-shattering angelic waterfalls of this house and watching as it all went inside of us and all around. So there it was, in all its fledged glory, the whole thing, listening in and leaning on it like a friend. And the way in which it caused such a heart-churning coolness in the air was beyond anyone's belief in the history of time and space, and outside of it as well. So we took hold of the night as it dawned upon us, and shook the hand of all the fare thee wells to take their place when the walls had all finally fallen down. We were in the digression of interstellar feelings to the tone of really no clue, and we weren't looking for any, anyway. So as it goes along and comes around again, we had seen it, we had heard it. The space voyage disco-eyed glass of all hearing what was here all over again. So we remained, stayed the same, watched the knowledge of doors opening inside of themselves and all conjoined in the speaking violence of every single passion of life. The total imagery of the eyes you see him understanding the legs of watery futures and old rooted cogwheels deep down under and also way, way above. The whole fabric of every face resting in place was a sort of beautiful catastrophe for every hero to fall in. The terms of every lesson in love had returned obliged to have its say in all the ways this will do, has done, and will keep doing. So as it is, and as it goes, the folly of all the hope in every hand, waving high, with the will of life and man and all coping and helping and waning and waxing cross the way in paradise or proxy to the hum of all we could be through. So I will tell you, most don't remain the same, but of all the jewels of life to hold, yours is the most known, held as an artifact of this way to death or better water. We sank to the hymn of all we could know. There was a friend you could not see, but held the air for you to breathe, and the arguments to follow, all keep steed to the groove of those pearl-filtered steps, leading to the arraignment of gone winters and long springs, passing out spirals and other things to bring. The heaviest token that held us to knowing we were here, in this and this in us, was knowing that you were here as well. No well-obligated pattern of communication could fragment the herd washing whispers wondering what was happening and what was going to happen next, as I lay next to the dusk of stars in foggy gray. So you see, the night will roll on, and we will be sound. This is now, and you and I, and all that knows, to keep the frolicking wells of deep spring water in the memories of more changes to come. The father of your own blood be bearing well, and sweet mother is arriving nicely at home. If there is but any wonder of the unknown man, it's that he never could figure how all that has been said could value much to the unknown knowledge of man himself. So as a neighbor, many is to savor, if you can't help but find yourself home. I keep to the amusement of this whole thing itself, like attractions for life to ride on, fly on, or go even further. There are those that go the long way home, and there are some who find the ticket, well, right where they left it, wherever it was to be in the first place. In the dawn of what's to come, many will see is what has all been wrong. Yet it's not how it's supposed to be. In the indifference of struggling chords for others to march on, the hammer of waiting pictures will keep the way lit for as far as the eye can see. The heavens will glisten with the sideways ripeness of the only sun that shines for now. If I were a betting man, I'd say the hero of just shadows will sit fine in the earth of his own space, and the hell of personal opinion will oblige itself to rest in its own doing. Be it fine to ride all the way alone, be it well to go to what is planned, and be it swift to follow all you could ever do, ever know, ever say, be, older, altogether, and in between. Thanks for tuning in to Stories Around the Candle, folks. This here broadcast is brought to you by Butt Boss Cigarettes. The only cigarettes who can tell your boss it's time for a cigarette break. But boss, get 'em while they last.